Hello, friends. It's Jaden, Debate Debates, head editor and producer. I just wanted to let you guys know that the podcast should be coming out every other Wednesday, as Lori and Jocelyn forgot to mention that in this week's episode. Once again, it should be coming out every other Wednesday, so mark your calendar. I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Hi, I'm Lori Coates. I am BCBA and coordinator of the BATE team for Davis School District.
And I'm Jocelyn Ruiz, BCBA and co-coordinator of the BATE team. And this is our 6th episode of BATE Debate Topics We're Tackling. BATE Debate will address simple research-based behavioral practices that will work with individual students or groups of students in school settings. The situations and questions will be adapted from what we are hearing and seeing in schools. These are a common struggle with students of all abilities. Although they are simple strategies, they will be effective at decreasing challenging behavior and making your day a little easier. We're excited to share these strategies to make them available to SPED teachers, gen ed teachers, and other staff working in schools. If you would like to submit some questions to us, you can do so to our email, that is batedebatepodcast@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at behavior_in_progress. Last episode, we introduced one of our University of Utah students, Brecken Taylor, who is back with us today. And she is going to be joining in the conversation that we're going to have today. So last episode, we talked about reinforcement riddles. Did you guys have any experiences recently? And what did you learn during these experiences?
Well, I had an experience recently that one of the students I was working with, they really enjoyed, I don't remember how we found this out, but they really enjoyed looking at pictures of like me and my family and my friends on my phone. And so whenever we would struggle to get this student to go to the bus on time, I would tell the student that, hey, if you go see the bus, I'll show you a new picture of me and my friends. And the student was just so overly excited about that. And I loved sharing about my life. So it was a win-win.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
I have my favorite reinforcement story. It's from several years ago, but still gets to me this day. I asked a group that I was training, what's the most interesting reinforcement you've seen that a student likes? And a lady in the front raised her hand and she said, I have a student who likes to flip my arm fat. And I was I was kind of speechless for a minute because I'm thinking that's different. And I wondered how they figured it out. But apparently this was really quite the reinforcement. When the student would do his work, he would get to flip her arm fat twice. And she was not shy to hold her arm up and show she had a good swinger. So it was, I could see why it would be reinforcing.
Yeah.
I love that story because, well, one, because I think it's hilarious, but for two, it's showing how we need to be creative. It's going to be something different every time for students.
And sometimes what you least expect is what they're motivated by.
And I'm not promoting that you go out and see if students would like to flip your arm fat, but yeah.
Yeah. But you never know
Yeah.
what is going to reinforce a student.
True. So, what's our topic for today?
Today we're going to be talking about forgetting function.
That's a great topic. What is function, if that's what we're going to be talking about?
Well, function in behavior, we talk about functions of behavior. All behavior has a function. There are 4 functions of behavior. They are attention, escape, tangible, and the last one is sensory or automatic. The most common that you guys see in schools are attention, escape, and tangibles. Students want access to attention, they want to escape or get out of something, or they want to access a tangible like the iPad, an activity, whatever reinforcement they want at that time. And then the last one, sensory or automatic, these are behaviors that you don't need another person to provide that reinforcement. These are self-mediated things, so things like scratching an itch would be an automatic kind of reinforcement because I don't need somebody to help with that. I can provide that reinforcement for myself. So sometimes you might see them in school settings, but not very often. So those are what we talk about when we say functions of behavior.
Jocelyn, what do you see as the biggest pitfall for school staff in being consistent and having effective interventions?
Not understanding function of behavior and communicating this well to all involved. When we're developing interventions, function needs to be the thing that is the focus. When that doesn't happen, function is not at the forefront of our brains when we implement those interventions. How do we shift that and keep the focus on function?
Well, I think we just need to ensure first and foremost that our intervention meets the function. So the biggest is just really knowing what the function is and paying attention to that and looking at your data. If the function doesn't get met, and you know I love the Muppets, so I'm going to give an example from the Muppets. It would be like giving Cookie Monster a steak. He does not want a steak. He wants cookies, right? That is really what he wants. Or giving the count a break in a room with nothing to count. That would not make him happy either, right? So once you have an intervention that may meet the function, you have to make sure all staff who interact with or are clear about the function and the intervention you're doing and what the function is actually doing. Like making sure they understand that there's a correlation. We need to, for example, if the behavior function is accessing attention, right? I want attention from people. We need to decrease the drive that the student's fighting for. So what we see with students is I want attention, I'm not getting enough, and so I will exhibit challenging behavior or even fight, yell, scream in order to get that attention. They don't care if it's good attention or bad attention. They just want the attention. So if we give attention, then we can decrease that drive. Now I'm getting that. This is when we get into that fun vocabulary in behavior analysis, and it's called motivating operations. So one day maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more. What we need to do is sometimes remove attention for challenging behavior and increase attention for desired behavior. And then the critical part is we also need a plan for providing tension that's non-contingent. So all reinforcer, not just attention. That's just the one example that I like. How about you, Brecken? Any thoughts on this function?
Yeah, so a lot of the times there's always a reason why a student does what they do, and I had a cool experience at a school once where the teacher asked me to come in and observe the student and to kind of like tell what their function of their behavior was, and the student they screamed a lot, and the teacher thought that they were screaming for attention, but I noticed as I was watching the student that the way that that the student was doing it because they really enjoyed the way it felt in their mouth. They would do like different types of screams and different noises with their mouth. And I noticed that even when they had a chewy, which is something that you students can chew on if that's some of their, because some students have sensory needs where they like use their mouth a lot. So even when the chewy was in the student's mouth, they would still scream. And in finding that out, it gave a different perspective too, because I think not only is it really good for finding out the function of behavior is really good at coming up with interventions, but for me, I also feel like it's a really great tool for compassion that once you know why they're doing it, I don't know, for me it clicks and it gives me a lot more compassion and understanding of that student, and so I can better able to meet their needs that way as well.
I really like your connection of function to compassion because we've been bringing up empathy and relationships and connection and how important all of that is. We're behaviorists and we like to do things that manipulate behavioral outcomes, but it all comes down to if you don't have connection, relationships, and an understanding, right? And that's what function does. It gives me an understanding. Oh, this student really has a need, and the need is to scream. It feels good in my throat, right? Or we have students with autism who have, stemming behaviors like flapping or other things. That's important for them. And if you understand, then you're able to make better interventions and, again, be compassionate. I really like that word. That was a good word.
Really quick, I also just wanted to talk about escape because when the function of a student's behavior is escape, teachers aren't always addressing that function. If a student's function of behavior is escape, we need to find a way for them to have that escape in a more appropriate manner, because we all escape things. I put off replying to emails, washing my dishes. So we all escape tasks, but we do it in an appropriate manner. So teaching students to also learn to escape things appropriately, like asking for a break, would be a great way to meet that function of escape for that student.
So if my function is escape from a really big stimulating environment and you just keep giving me Skittles, that's not going to help.
Nope, and probably is going to increase behaviors more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Bait Debate. We're excited to have this opportunity once again to share behavior strategies. Love talking about function and behavior. We'll bring it up some more, and we look forward to talking about motivating operations. We hope the information presented was meaningful, and that we're just let you know we have lots of more exciting topics. We're so excited to keep going this year just to keep you all reeled in. If you have educator friends that you think might benefit or like to have some of this information, please share it along. Please, again, a plug. Join us on TikTok and Instagram. I don't remember how I'm supposed to say that, so I say both ways. So join us on Instagram. And our tag is at behavior_in_progress. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.